All right, I'm sure you can hear me now. Hello.
Yes.
Good. So we can begin. Here we're working on the art of persuasion. Now, this is very important for any leader. Any leader that wants to be successful should be able to master the art of, or master the elements of the art of persuasion. Those elements include an understanding of people, an effective use of words, and the ability to manage conflict. The three things, these are the elements of the art of persuasion: an understanding of people, an effective use of words, and the ability to manage conflict. So let's look at them one by one. Let's start with the understanding of people. So the best way or the most effective way to understand people is to be sensitive to their needs. That means that if you can develop that ability to see things from the other person's view, then you can be a good leader. Now, I'll give you examples of leaders who have achieved a lot by way of understanding what people need or being sensitive to what people need. A good example, we have Lyndon Johnson. You know, in the Congress of the U.S. Congress of today, we all know how difficult it is to pass a bill or make any concrete achievement in this past decade. Sometimes they due to politics, they might even delay passing a bill, or even there was a particular one whereby they had to shut down the government because of the wrangling and bitter politics, that was going on in Congress. And then I think they shut it down, and then the government, some federal workers could not get paid because the government was shut down. They can't go to work. Yeah. So, but there are some leaders who know how to navigate through those things, like Lyndon Johnson, who was the 36th president of the United States. He recognized that people do what they do for their own reasons, and he accomplished his goals, majority of his goals, by helping some of those people achieve theirs. There are some, senators, you know how to, can convince them, give them what they want. Sometimes what they want might be some kind of pet project for their district, where they have, or it can be any other thing that they're looking for. Anyway, with this, by taking advantage of this ability, he was able to, after taking office, he won the major tax cut, and also he was able to work with the Congress to pass the Clean Air Act and also the Civil Rights Act in 1964, which is a very, 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 the Civil Rights Act was a very big achievement of Lyndon Johnson. And why was he able to do that? He knows how to, he was sensitive to the needs of some of these individual senators and the congressmen and women. So, like I said, many of them want to do a kind of project for their community that they represent. He was able to, find something like almost like a quid pro quo, and they now worked with him to pass the Civil Rights Act. Now, after this election, he even made even more reforms, like the Social Security Amendment of 1965 that created the Medicare and Medicaid. That was one of the small, a significant achievement of a leader who knows how to be sensitive to the needs of the people he worked with. Now, guys, 1 minute. Another one, Napoleon, this one is in the history. We don't know who he is, but history told us that he was a great leader. Napoleon Bonaparte, he's a French, and he mastered the art of persuasion because he understood people. And he has a very simple key to effective leadership. First, he determined what people wanted most, and then he did everything he can, that he within his power, to help them to get it. That's a simple model he was using. So usually Napoleon always keyed his play to what his army wanted at the time. You know, for example, when they were starving, his army were starving, he promised them food as long as they won the war. And when some of them were feeling homesick and they want to desert the army, he asked them, how do you want to, how do you want to return home? How do you want to get home? Do you want to go home as a conquered army soldier, or do you want to go home as a hero? So many of them want to go home as a hero, so they stayed. Now, of course, they are fighting in Egypt, in the pyramid of Egypt, which is a very rough terrain to fight the kind of medieval war they fight in those days. He was telling the soldiers who were becoming embittered and discouraged. I was telling them 40 centuries will be written stories about you, and it is up to you now to make them read good things about you. So 40th century are looking down upon you. So, I mean, these days, this may not motivate a soldier to fight, but it was a big deal in those days, because those are the days people want to die for their honor. Their honor. So this kind of thing can motivate them a lot in those days. So the bottom line that helping others to achieve their goals, that is the essence of leadership. Employee who wants to get a raise, you can give them incentive, by offering them bonuses, and then in return, they give you their best. They give their best to you at the workplace. A good example. So Napoleon understood this, and by the time he was 30, Napoleon ruled France. For 15 years, he ruled France, and he proved himself as one of the history's greatest military commanders. Yeah. Now look at the Napoleon here. As you can see how young he was when he was doing that. So another important thing we notice that well, this is not necessary. You can do this up. So now, next thing is the effective use of words. Very, very important. As a matter of fact, one of the reasons ex-President Obama won the election, apart from the fact that he's a very smart guy, he knows how to speak with eloquence. He's a good orator. Speeches, gives so many speeches, very motivating speeches. Was able to get the hearts of both the white and the Black Americans and the Hispanics, or Americans. And he continued, even when he was in office. I mean, he did a good job, if you ask me. But he knows how to get the attention of people through his words. The same thing with Martin Luther King. Now, so in times of crisis especially, people need words that will motivate them, that will give them hope. So in time of crisis especially, like I said, the leader or the conviction of the leader conveyed through his words can be a determining factor in the course of events. It's one of the ways that Winston Churchill, and I'm sure you must have heard of him, Winston Churchill, the Prime Minister of Britain during the Second World War, when Britain was devastated by bombardment from Germany and their allies. So at the point, even France was, became overpowered by German army. So yet, he gave so many speeches, very, very motivating speeches he gave that motivated the soldiers. So, one of them, I will encourage you to Google this one of the speeches where he spoke about we shall fight in the beaches. Then we shall fight. We shall fight. Now, he considered the tenacity of the English people, and then he inspired them, and told them words that encouraged them. He told them that even though all of Europe may fall to the German onslaught, that he said, we shall not flag or fail. We shall go on to the end. We shall fight in the seas and oceans. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing ground. We shall fight in the field and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender. So it was very powerful, motivating speech, and the soldiers were really highly motivated to fight. Now, in recent days and weeks, we are experiencing something similar happening in Ukraine. President Zelensky, a good orator and a good leader. At the end of the day, people believe what they see. He didn't hide himself in a maybe a very beautiful house and then send the soldiers to the war front to die. No, he didn't do that. Even when the United States offered to take him to help him to escape Ukraine, he told them he didn't need the right. What he needs is weapons to fight. A world power like Russia that almost all the European countries are afraid of. This guy stayed with his family in Ukraine and was motivating them with speeches, coming out every day, motivated all his congressmen, every congressman were carrying a rifle, willing to fight. The whole country wanted to fight because of the fact that the president was there, willing to die with them, and she gave so many motivating speech. Even though they were fighting the Russia with almost bare hand, they were still winning. They were winning because Russians, Ukrainians are motivated to give their life. Now, Russians they cannot even withstand them in a combat. Their goal was to, like they always do in the past, was to, within 48 hours, 1 week, they can conquer, they can decapitate Kyiv, the president, and install their stooge and take over the whole country. They can't even control the airspace with all their big might and big mouth, But this guy was able to motivate his people. They're willing to do everything, give a lot of speeches, and stay with them in the trench. That is what we call a leader. So what made him so effective? One, he's a very effective communicator. So what Russians have only succeeded in doing all this time with all their powers and their world power, whatever they call it, is to attack civilians, attack civilian homes, destroy. You're not fighting with bridge. You're not fighting with civilians. You're fighting with army. You can't even withstand the army. So what they're able to chase the Russian out, destroy their tanks, even their warship, and so on and so forth. Now, like I said, I asked before, what made him so effective? Because he's a very effective communicator. He's very good at describing what is happening and what, as a nation, that they need to do to be successful in the future. He also clearly demonstrates confidence, and he knows his role as the president. And he's very, very, very willing to direct with both his adversary. And when he's talking to United States Congress or to European Congress, Parliament, in fact, you know what? I'm gonna play one of his speeches so that You can see what he succeeded where European nations were so scared of Russia. He have shown them that Russia is actually overrated. The army is overrated. So let me play one of these speeches so you can see how good a communicator this guy is. Let's see if I can play it here. Oh, I gotta open it from first of all. Okay, now let me share this. I'm gonna share a new one. This one here. Okay, let me open it.
He's known as People's Shark. When he's not on TV, Damon John is one of
Glory to heroes. Thank you very much. Madam Speaker, members of the Congress, ladies and gentlemen, Americans, friends, I'm proud to greet you.
Can you hear the sound?
Yes.
Oh, good.
From Ukraine, from our capital city of Kyiv, a city that is under missile and airstrikes from Russian troops every day, but it doesn't give up. And we have not even thought about it for a second. Just like many other cities and communities in our beautiful country, which found themselves in the worst war since World War II. I have the honor to greet you on behalf of the Ukrainian people, brave and freedom-loving people who for 8 years have been resisting the Russian aggression. Those who give their best sons and daughters to stop this full-scale Russian invasion. Right now, the destiny of our country is being decided. The destiny of our people, whether Ukrainians will be free, whether they will be able to preserve their democracy. Russia has attacked not just us, not just our land, not just our cities. It went on a brutal offensive against our values, basic human values. It threw tanks and planes against our freedom, against our right to live freely in our own country, choosing our own future, against our desire for happiness, against our national dreams, just like the same dreams you have, you Americans, just like anyone else in the United States. I remember your national memorial in Rushmore, the faces of your prominent presidents, those who laid the foundation of the United States of America as it is today, democracy, independence, freedom, and care for everyone, for every person, for everyone who works diligently, who lives honestly, who respects the law. We in Ukraine want the same for our people. All that is normal part of your own life. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, Americans, in your great history, you have pages that would allow you to understand Ukrainians, understand us now, when you need it right now, when we need you right now. Remember Pearl Harbor, terrible morning of December 7, 1941, when your sky was black from the planes attacking you. Just remember it. Remember September the 11th, a terrible day in 2001 when evil tried to turn your cities, independent territories, in battlefields, when innocent people were attacked from air. Yeah.
So I recommend that you watch this. Have the chance. He's a very interesting, and so many other speeches he made to encourage his people. That is, he's really a good leader. So now, anyway, I think we get the point. Let us go back to where we are. Okay, we're going to have more